Hi, I'm Susan, and welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. We are so glad you could join us. We are here every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on WLS AM 890. We are an auction house that welcomes buyers and consigners from all over the world. We specialize in high-end antiques, but we also get the greatest collections of cars, military items, coins, firearms, you name it. One day is never like another around here. We have at least one auction a month, and for our listeners in the Chicagoland area, you have to come out and see us and join us in a live auction. We're super easy to get to. We're only about 45 minutes northwest of O'Hare, and the live auctions are a lot of fun. It's like an event. DonleyAuctions.com is where you can see all of the items, and you can bid online from literally anywhere in the world. And if you miss a show, you can listen to our past episodes and check out our unfiltered podcast for some behind-the-scenes fun. We are always looking for the next great collection. If you have something you'd like to turn into cash, please give us a call. Our phone number is 815-923-7000. Or you can even just email us some photos to our consignment inbox at consign@donleyauctions.com. We would love to see what you have. We've got a great show coming up for you. We're going to talk about some incredible items coming up, what we're on the hunt for, and there are always some crazy stories from the auction house to share. And today I'm in the studio with Randy and Mike Donley, so sit back and relax and listen to an enjoyable hour.
Hi, Susan. How you doing?
Hey, Mike and Randy. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, you bet, Susan. You know, as you're reading through all the comments about Donley Auctions and everything, it occurred to me that, Mike, you and I have been doing this over 50 years.
Yes, sir.
50.
Yes, sir.
That gives you an idea how old these guys are.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
Don't count me in on that.
No. But, 50 years we've been either going to or doing auctions ourselves. And folks, we started, Mike and I started in the auction business actually off-site. We were doing buildings in the city of Chicago.
Building City of Chicago and private collections who we were running through other auctioneers at that time, yeah.
But we actually developed our auction business to stay home at our site in Union, Illinois, where we now have a 24-acre complex of buildings where we hold auctions, as Susan said, once a month. And what's our next auction coming up, guys? What do we have coming up?
Coming up next, so you can check this out at our website at DonleyAuctions.com. But one of my favorites, it's my favorite one of the year, I'm telling you. It's the Fall Classic coming up October 23rd through the 25th, and we're going to tell you why it is such a great auction.
Well, I always love this auction, I think, because it's more than an auction. It's an event.
It's an event, yes, absolutely.
And not only is it our event,
and I just want to jump in.
Okay,
it's free admission, folks. Even though we're calling it an event, it's free to come in.
Well,
so
good
come on out
point,
to Union,
Susan.
Illinois.
But this is an auction that we run at the same time as the coin op show that has always been for the last 50 years in the Chicago area. The last location it was at Grays Lake. It started years ago. Mike, where? At Drake Hotel.
Drake Hotel downtown, yeah.
It was Drake
that's
Hotel
where it
in
started?
Oakbrook.
Oh, when
Yeah.
was it Pheasant Run? After that?
Went to a couple places after that. Went
I
to
didn't know that.
Rosemont and went
To the Expo Center.
and then
Yeah.
one
Okay.
other place, I think, before it landed at...
It was at
Pheasant
Chateau, not Chateau Louise, but...
that was up on Milwaukee Avenue someplace.
Yeah. So, at any rate, the new location
Da-da-da.
is the Renaissance Center in Schaumburg, the Schaumburg Convention Center, and this is the first time the show is going to be there, and everybody in the industry is excited.
Oh, it is just an absolutely great location
Yes,
for it.
people from all over the world attend this event in Schaumburg.
Big, huge room, great hotel room, great restaurants. I mean, everything you could want for a big convention like that.
So there's many opportunities to buy at the show or at our auction, because we run our auction the same weekend, but we don't compete because on Thursday we start our auction.
We start our auction on Thursday, the 23rd at 10 a.m.
And we're not running slot machines. Well, we are running some slot machines
there's
and
some
jukeboxes.
coin-op advertising signs, breweryana. I can go through the whole list.
But it doesn't compete with the show because they're not running the show yet. But Friday, the show opens. So you can
dealer set up in dealer day only on Friday.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a dealer only on Friday, but we run our auction Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Friday night at 5:00 p.m. we start.
So you've got to come out to Union, Illinois, and visit our auction site because, as we just said, it's an event, and we've got everything you could possibly want. At our auction, we've got slot machines, jukeboxes, pinball machines, antique architecture, lamps. I mean, the list goes on. Mike, what else?
Beer signs. I
can tell you what else because I'm the one doing all the work. Bicycles.
Automobiles.
Advertising signs. Yeah, we got cars in this auction Friday night. So, again, Friday night is only 300 lots.
And advertising. Oh, my goodness.
Tons of advertising.
Do we have the
I don't
advertising?
know where we're going to put all those signs up. We have so many great signs. You got to come see it. Check it out at our website at donleyauctions.com. It is online, so you can see the photos.
Again, one of our best auctions of the year for sure.
One of my favorite things that just came in this week was that Monarch pool table.
Oh, the Monarch pool table. Yes.
Yeah, that was the best of the best.
I can't believe how fast you guys got that in the door and set it up. It's magnificent.
Yeah, and the Monarch, I would have to say, if you're looking for an antique pool table, the Monarch would be the holy grail of
It
pool
really
tables.
is, yeah.
Absolutely, yep.
Made by Brunswick right here in Chicago.
Right here in Chicago, yeah.
They used to be on Superior Street. Mm-hmm. I think 260 Superior Street.
How do you remember
in
that?
Chicago.
That's
I don't
funny.
know.
Wow. But you
'Cause
can't
I'm
remember.
old.
You can't remember our anniversary, but you got the street number there of Brunswick.
Oops. There you go. So, what else do we have in Brunswick?
Well, that's just one of 5 pool tables.
5 pool tables.
Oh, yeah.
We have the Brunswick Monarch in-house here, and then the other 4 are online. You can view them online, or if you want to go see them in person, they are at their location in Rockford. You can make an appointment and go and see them.
You know, one of those pool tables is really cool in that it's a couch.
It's a combination.
I saw that in the picture.
It's very rare.
Cool.
Yes.
I've never seen anything like it. It starts out as a couch. You can have it in your office and just fold the back down, and it converts into a pool table. How cool is that?
That's pretty neat. Yeah,
That's
I saw
correct.
the picture of that one.
That one, though, it's because I'm putting the holy grail of pool tables on Friday night because that's going to be kind of the best of the best of everything we have this weekend, all in one night. Everything else is going on Thursday, so those other 5 pool tables will be on Thursday.
Right. Okay.
They're just as nice, great quality, absolutely
and
beautiful.
everything is restored.
Yes.
I mean,
They're
basically
in
what
great
we
condition.
have is an antique, a company that sold antique pool tables that did all the restoration and everything. The owner has passed, sadly, and his wife is selling off the complete inventory of antique pool tables, and their shop was in Rockford, Illinois, and again, we've moved the Monarch to our location. So what else do we have in this weekend? I see a huge collection of coins and currency.
Okay, so we talked about Thursday. It's really, I want to say general antiques, but it's much more than just general antiques. We have tons of different categories of things with many items in those collections on Thursday. Friday night's the best of the best, the top 300. Now let's go into Saturday. That's my favorite day too. Sports memorabilia all day Saturday. But I think we're going to also add some coins, jewelry, watches.
Oh my goodness! A collection of gold pocket watches.
Gold pocket watches, yeah.
And they're real gold. These aren't gold plated.
Well, some of them are, but there's a lot of solid gold
Yes.
watches.
Yeah,
in
Ryan talked about that on the show last week. If you want to go back to hear more details about those particular items. But I do know those are coming up on Saturday. And we have photos of those online at donleyauctions.com.
We're talking about all the things that we're selling. But, you know, one of the main purposes of this show is to let you all out there know if you've got items to sell, we're the people that can sell it for you. Whether it's one item or a whole collection, we're just looking for all kinds of goodies for sale at Donley Auctions.
And you know, the Donley difference, I love that we call it that. And why would you want to consign with us? Let me tell you. I knew you were going to ask. Well, we have I'll tell you the top 5 reasons right now. We have a worldwide reach. Our audience is literally worldwide. Not only do they come here to our auctions, they are all online. We even get on the phones with them. Remember that one time, Mike, you were on the phone with South Korea?
Yeah,
I think
for
the
8
entire
hours,
time.
yeah.
That was a long auction. We get amazing prices. They're a much fairer return than you would ever get at any garage sale or having your neighbor cherry pick what you have. We have a team of experts that will identify what you have, and we will give you our honest opinions and estimates on the value.
In advance.
In advance, right. So you can decide if you want to put it in or not, but we're going to tell you the truth, whether it's good or bad.
And sadly, sometimes we give you the bad news.
Well, that's
Your
what I'm saying.
items aren't worth anything.
We have integrity here, and we're going to tell you like it is.
And on the flip side of the coin, when things hit, I mean, they go for crazy money. Because,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes they go much higher than we've even expected. That's the beauty of an auction. When two people start bidding against each other, and for whatever reason, they don't want the other person to have it.
That's right.
They'll bid
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, more than
under
it's
promise,
worth.
over
And that's
deliver.
happened on a lot
for
of
sure.
occasions.
We have professional photography of these items, so you can actually see what you're buying before you buy it. We have a fantastic marketing team that's going to get everything out in front of a global audience. They even drill down into specific like Facebook groups and publications and magazines and things like that. Our marketing team is very busy. And you never know what you might have in your basement, your attic, garage, or your storage room, but you need to give us a call. That's your first step at 815-923-7000, or leave us an email at donleyauctions.com.
You know, Susan, one more thing that I want to point out too is people say this all the time. Oh, I've got this huge collection, but I would have no way of getting it out there.
That's a problem, yeah.
Right before we went on the air today, Mike and I were talking to a gentleman in Iowa who has a huge Native American collection, and he said, well, geez, I'd like to consign it if you guys could come and pick it up. Well,
road trip to Iowa? Is that what you're saying?
No problem.
No problem.
You know, regardless of what state. I mean, a couple days ago, I was on the phone with a person in California. I was on the phone with Florida. We get all over the country to pick up collections. So traveling and getting it here is just not an issue.
One of the reasons that you want to put it at an auction is that you just can't guess at the prices today.
You know, I bring this up on almost every episode or every show that we do. One of my favorite TV shows is the Road Show. Mm-hmm. And at the Road Show, when they're appraising items for people, they'll always say, well, at auction, you could expect to get.
And it may go higher. It may go much higher.
And that's
you never
because
know.
At auction, that is the way to sell it, because all these people on the Road Show, they're smiling, they're laughing about how cheap they bought this at a sale, at a house sale or a garage sale or what have you. And we don't want that to happen to you folks. We don't want you to sell your items short and be sad or be embarrassed and everything later when you find out what it was really worth.
And I just want to add that you kind of need to give us some time to get all this work done in advance before an auction. So our next auction coming up October, we are pretty much almost done with it. We're ready for the next one. So you got to keep in mind that you need to pull the trigger sooner than later to give us a call or send us an email so we can analyze what you have, give us time to travel if we need to, get it back here, rent a truck, have you guys look at it. You know, there's definitely steps involved. So we want to market it and advertise it with lots of time in advance as well. So sooner than later, give us a call and we'll let you know when your items will fit into one of our upcoming auctions. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour. We'll be right back. Do Do you have coins gathering dust? Hi, I'm Susan with Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, and we're looking for quality consignments. We're looking for gold and silver, whether they're graded or non-graded, and anything pre-1964 in half dollars, quarters, dimes, and silver dollars. Let's turn your collection into cash. Call us today at 815-923-7000. That's 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions, always looking for quality consignments.
What would you like to hear us talk about on the Donley Auctions Hour? Give us a call at 815-923-7000. And Susan, let's go through the payment process.
All right, let's.
Because a lot of people say, okay, I'm consigning items to you. What are the steps that we go
How long
through?
before I get my $1 million check?
Yes, sometimes could be.
That would be nice. Well, after an auction is held, we spend a couple weeks collecting payments from everybody. That's
And
our main
shipping items
focus.
out,
And shipping
sure.
items, right. And being open for people to come pick up their items. There's a lot going on after an auction. But our goal is to always get our consigners paid first as soon as everything is in, and it's always within 30 days.
Always within 30
days
bet.
of the auction. So we work very hard to make sure that happens, and we have yet to go past that mark.
Absolutely.
Make sure you give us a call.
Okay, so again, very simple process. All you have to do is start by making the call.
815-923-7000. Let us know what you have. They're probably going to tell you to send us an email because it's just easier to print that information out with any photographs. But I did have a call from an older gentleman who I don't know how to get these pictures in an email. Okay, not a problem. We'll give you some other options. Can you just give us a list of what you have? That sometimes works.
Well, and you know what? A lot of people text directly to my phone.
Or you can text it. I'm not going to give your phone number out over the air, though. But
You
if you do
could.
call us, we'll give you Randy's personal phone number. You can just take a snapshot of something and text
Sure.
it to you.
We're always looking for complete collections as well as individual items. Mike, you want to go over some of the type of things we're looking for?
Yes,
Sure.
but I also want to say real quick, too, the other option is if you do call and Randy's available or any of our experts are in-house and can take your phone call and you just have no other way. Some people like to talk in person, over the phone. We'll get you on the phone with Randy or have him call you back, and that way you can explain to him in great detail what you have. Sometimes that works, too. Go ahead, Mike.
A lot of the things we're looking for, you may have in your home and not even think they're worth anything. And at this point, I'm going to
That
sound like
always happens,
At
yeah.
this point, I'm going to sound like the guy who lists all the medical calamities if you take a medicine.
Oh, okay.
We're
Yeah.
looking for firearms and ammo, militaria, muscle cars, vehicles, motorcycles, vintage signs, antique advertising, architecture, including bars and back bars, coins and currency, jewelry and watches, toys, sports, coin ops, slot machines, vending machines, arcade games, jukeboxes, mutoscopes, orchestrions, phonographs, radios.
Slow down,
music
my
boxes,
man.
General store, breweriana, petroliana, railroadiana, tobacciana, barbershop items, early invention and technology, scientific industry instruments, cameras and photography, sports memorabilia, license plates, lamps and chandeliers, stained glass, and amusement rides, and that's just a short part of the list. I mean, if call us, text us, send us a photo, you'd be surprised.
Well, we just got an email. Speaking of all the emails, we get probably 50, I would say every couple of days. We are inundated with emails from people, but we're going through them all.
A nice knife collection of case manufacturer knives.
That's right, because that was not on your list. But that's a great collection of items that we're going to.
That's
Knives,
right. We get in a lot of knife collections.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of knives, I do want to point out Randall Knives. Randall is one
Oh,
of the
my
premier
gosh, yeah.
manufacturers of knives, and they're still being manufactured today. But the older ones go for huge
Thousands of
money.
dollars. Yep, thousands of dollars.
Yeah, each,
Yep.
of course. Yeah. So one of the items that we keep preaching about, because Mike and I just love big, heavy stuff, and we drive Susan nuts with.
Oh, yeah. You going to talk about the stove?
No, I want to talk
The
about.
huge stove? No? Okay.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
talk about bars and back
Oh,
bars.
that's even
Love
bigger,
bars and
yeah.
back bars.
There's just something, Mike and I grew up in Berwyn, Illinois, and Berwyn and Cicero was our stomping ground for years and years. And, of course, there were loads of corner bars
every
back
corner
in the
had
day,
one.
all over Berwyn and Cicero. So when we started our antiques buying and selling when we were teenagers, it was bars and back bars that really intrigued us. Old gambling devices, that's how we kind of got into it. Started with bars and back bars, and then, of course, all the old gambling equipment that we would find in these old saloons. Well, over the years, in these last 50 years, most of the old bars and back bars have been all remodeled out of the buildings and everything. So they're getting scarcer and scarcer to find. And Mike and I are still looking for that big last hurrah of a great, a great find. So if you know of one somewhere, give us a call.
Let us know, because I have a client who is anxiously looking for a beautiful Brunswick triple arch, if anybody has one out there.
You know how we fell in love with bars? And I'm going to tell you.
How not just from sitting at them, you mean?
No. It started when we were like 7, 8 years old.
What?
You say, what were you doing in bars when you're 7, 8 years old? Randy and I,
I hear this one.
in grade school, every year we had a fundraiser. You had to sell these chance tickets. It was like 25 cents a chance, or I think they were a nickel a chance and a quarter for the whole page if you bought. So somehow Randy and I figured out that if on Friday at payday we went into these bars,
that's a fact. This is
stool
a true
to stool
story.
to stool, and asked guys, Mister, would you like to buy a chance for our school? Buy a chance. Every one of them. We'd fill up books, and Randy and I were always the top sellers.
Oh my gosh!
We'd go into the bars, and these
never heard this
these
story.
guys sitting at the bar stools would buy out our chance books, and we were always the top sellers.
Always the top seller. And you say, well, how did you not feel intimidated going into bars? Well, we had a grandfather who liked to drink and have a glass of wine now and then.
There, yeah.
And his little
More
kids,
than now and then.
the little kids, he would take us into the tavern, and we'd have to sit on the stool while he had his little glass or two of wine, and then we'd go somewhere else. And so we were always, from
In
little
and out
kids,
of bars. We grew up in bars.
We never felt intimidated or anything by that.
That's why they have the rules now, because of you two.
But speaking of which, back in the day, I started collecting military relics at a very early age. Uniforms, helmets, guns, actually, at a preteen level, because I would play military with it. And already at that age, I had figured out that if I put up a postcard on the bulletin boards that every tavern had, a cork board with messages, a message board, I would handwrite a postcard looking for military relics, buying. And I swear I would meet all these World War II guys. They'd give a call to the phone number. They don't know who they're calling. They're calling a postcard, right? And a preteen shows up with some money in his pocket. We'd sit at a bar, and I'd buy his war relics.
And you loved hearing their stories, too.
Oh, my God, yeah. To be able to go back and talk with these old-timers again, it was great.
And they weren't old-timers at that point.
No, they were probably in
back
their
in
30s.
the 1960s, these guys were only 40 years old.
Yeah.
The war was only over 20 years.
Yeah.
So all these guys were only in their 40s. But, of course, I thought of them as being ancient. And I cannot tell you how many World War I vets I used to meet. I mean, think about it. There's no World War I vets left, are there?
Nope.
They're all gone?
Under 10,000 World War II vets left.
Incredible. The World War I vets, they never had what I really wanted, because even though I was buying German helmets and all kinds of medals and insignia off these guys, I really wanted World War II. I found it much more interesting, and that's what I was looking for.
Back to the bars and back bars. Do you guys remember the first bar you ever bought? Like, what made you decide, we're going to buy this bar?
Well,
And we're
I
gonna
think the one over on
dismantle it.
Archer Avenue was the first one, wasn't it?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. That you had in the banquet hall for years.
Oh, okay.
Woman
So
called
you
us
had
up.
already had the business going here when you guys bought your first
We were
bar.
just opening up the banquet hall. We needed a bar.
Oh,
That was
okay.
When we
1980.
bought one for
Makes sense.
ourselves, yeah. And oddly enough, I mean, this woman, she didn't call us for a bar. A lady called the Wild West town, and she said she had an antique cash register, and she started talking about this cash register and other things. And I said, ma'am, I'd really like to buy your cash register today, but what I really need is a bar and a back bar. And she said, "Oh my God, really?" She said, "You would buy that? I have one." And I just couldn't believe, because when she told me the address, I knew the bar already. I knew exactly where it was and what it looked like, and I couldn't believe my good fortune that I would actually be going to buy a bar that I was so familiar with over the years.
They were widening the road over on Archer Avenue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Archer, like at about First or somewhere around that.
Exactly.
And the little tar paper shack, you would look at this place and never believe there was a big, beautiful bar in there,
Yeah.
which
I'll
served
be darned.
itself in the banquet hall for
many
40 years almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
keep
it
that
was
in
great.
mind. If you do know anybody willing to sell one, give us a call at 815-923-7000. Ask for Randy immediately, because he loves to talk about bars and back bars. Or you can email us photos at consign@donleyauctions.com. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to take a little break here. Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions on WLS AM 890. In our next segment, we're going to talk about how you can purchase these items, because we've been talking about selling them. Now we're going to tell you how you can buy them. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Sunday. Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. If you're just joining us, we are here every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on WLS AM 890. We are an auction house located in Union, Illinois. We are just about 45 minutes northwest of O'Hare. We have live auctions and online auctions. And today we're talking about upcoming auctions where you might want to consign items to it. We talked about that in our last segment. Coming up in this segment, we're going to talk about how you can easily bid at one of our auctions. And I also want to throw out, again, some things that we are looking for coming up in auction next year. So to tell us some more fun stories, I've got Randy and Mike Donley in the studio today to share some of that.
In our last segment, we were talking about picking up bars and back bars and so on and so forth. But another area that we used to, years ago, go after, and we still are, is theaters. Antique, well, not antique, but old theaters.
Like movie theaters?
Movie theaters. And every city had multiple movie theaters. And the equipment that was in a movie theater was always collectible and still is today. And Mike, years ago, you more than I would actually go into movie theaters and remove equipment out of it.
equipment and architecture. I mean, when a lot of the old movie palaces in Chicago were torn down, you got the State Lake, the Roosevelt, the Oriental got remodeled, the Woods Theater, all those famous old movie theaters are gone. I think the only thing left intact is the Chicago Theater downtown. But a lot of that stuff got saved. You know, didn't all go down with the wrecking balls. So we had salvaged a lot of stuff, but there were other people salvaging stuff too out of those.
There was such great architecture in all those theaters. They used to refer to them as movie palaces because of the quality of chandeliers and wall sconces and antique furniture and everything. They were really beautiful buildings.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that when those were actually designed, the biggest architect was named Rapp and Rapp, the firm Rapp and Rapp that did all the big movie palaces. They were sending over to Europe for oil paintings and Oriental rugs and statuary. So they were outfitting those theaters with real antiques. I mean, a lot of times they would build stuff today and put reproductions in there. Back then, they were actually using real antiques.
Back in like the 1930s and 40s, they were actually buying what was then antiques.
Correct.
Imagine the value of some of that stuff today.
Well, Mike, with your history as being a projectionist, what can you tell us about some of the equipment that people might have stored away somewhere that would be of value today?
Anything. I mean, if you have old movie posters, some of them have unbelievable
They got to
value.
be the real deal.
The real deal. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of the stuff that even recent stuff from the 60s is bringing into the hundreds and thousands of dollars now. So early Star Wars
Really?
posters is bringing crazy
Star
money.
Wars, okay.
So, I mean, that may
should've-
be more valuable than a silent movie poster back, from the
True,
teens.
everything is shifting.
So then anything to do with the theaters, like we said, any of the pieces of old architecture that might have came out of there, old signage.
How about that Warner Brothers plaque we have?
We just had
Stuff like
got it,
that. Is that from a theater?
That's from the Warner.
Studio.
No, that was from a film distributing office.
Okay, a little bit
That's coming
different,
up.
but still great
we
item.
just in the last week we've had a big influx because we've been putting the word out there that we're looking for things for an upcoming theater memorabilia.
So you're continuing the word right now, correct? You are staging a movie memorabilia auction, so you're looking for movie memorabilia.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, anything. Old projectors, the old 35 millimeter projectors, especially the hand crank stuff from the silent era.
Hand crank projectors. Okay. Good to know.
Sing-along slides, old seat ends. I mean, did you see some of
I
those
was going to
theater
say,
seat
don't
ends
we
that
have
came in?
theater seats coming up in October?
Well,
Where are those
the
from?
the end post. So the most beautiful one we have is from the Fisher Theater in Detroit. That's that Aztec-looking seat end.
Oh, I saw that.
I mean,
yeah.
the ends, the aisle ends of the seats in the theaters, those were always very elaborate, and they always had a little light in them too to shine on the aisle so people could see where they were going. But some of those, I mean,
You wouldn't even think that something like that would be so collectible.
well, it's funny. You put 4 or 5 of them up on a wall with pictures of the theaters.
True,
All of a sudden, they're art. They're works of art.
How about old costumes or props and things like that, like Hollywood?
Absolutely. If
studio-related
you
stuff.
have things, even autographs of stars, but screen-worn items, screen-worn, screen-used items. Whether it be a fake pistol or anything like that. Anything that has to do with Hollywood.
And
Big money.
all of that has the provenance with it, which is so important.
Oh, 100%. When we can tell where it came from or who used it, whatever, it always, most times, almost always doubles the value.
Wow. Well, okay, so folks, if you have anything to do with old movie theaters or that type of equipment or movie stills, posters, anything, Susan, how do they contact us?
All right. Well, the other thing, too, I want to mention are old Hollywood black and white photos. I do have a client looking for things like that, too, for his restaurant in Highland Park. We have to go visit at some point when he lets me say where that's located, but he's looking for black and white Hollywood memorabilia. So call us at 815-923-7000 or email us some pictures or a list of what you have. Just bullet point items is fine at consign, that's CONSIGN, at Donley, DONLEY, auctions with an S.com.
I personally am looking for some items, and that is this.
Personally,
Well,
right,
personally
let's hear it.
for the company, for
Okay,
Donley Auctions.
okay.
And that is,
I was going to say I don't have any more room.
not only am I looking for military relics like uniforms and so on and so forth, but I'm looking for military vehicles.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking for Jeeps. I'm looking for tanks. I'm looking for cannons and everything. But, we rarely ask for airplanes.
Airplanes is a good one.
And there's still plenty of airports out here that have hangars full of old goodies in airplanes. We're looking for stuff as old as biplanes, but we're also looking for World War II aircraft. And that's not a joke. Right down the block, there's a gentleman restoring a World War II bomber right down the block from us here. So there's plenty of old airplanes out there in not only the Chicago area, but all over the country. And we're looking for these items for sale. If you've got a piece that you would like to sell, we can make it fit in your wallet. One of our taglines here, if you've got something big, we'll make it fit in your wallet.
What about, you had mentioned cannons. So do they have to contact municipalities for the cannons?
Well,
like
a lot
that,
of
or do
times
you think
it's
people
the
have 'em?
municipalities selling the cannons.
Yeah.
And cemeteries very often are selling off military items that have been on display there, and they now, a lot of places find them to be an insurance liability because of kids crawling on them and everything. So a lot of times municipalities or even VFWs and AMVETS halls and everything do sell off these items. They have the legal right to do so, and we can help them with that because not only do we have at Donley Auctions an FFL, meaning a federal firearms license, we also have a Class 3 dealer's license, which allows us to sell for you anything in fully automatic weapons. Beyond airplanes and cannons and
anything
military.
that flies or drives, has wheels, you can put coins in, those are the types of things we're looking for. What I'd like to mention is the items we don't want.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a really tough sell these days, and I get a lot of emails about furniture Now, there's a difference between really nice, hand-carved, beautiful furniture and furniture. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we can't unfortunately sell household type items, and that is a more common furniture. The type of furniture we're looking for, give us a few names, Mike, would be heavily carved.
Well, Carpin comes in. Carpin was out of Chicago. They're a big high name one, but it's heavily carved. I mean, not the things from the 40s
griffins
and things like that.
Lions heads and this type of thing. We're always looking for carved furniture. But, just when I say we're not looking for furniture, we still need photos because, let's face it.
You never know what you have, yeah.
Yeah, this modern furniture.
Mid-century moderns.
Mid-century modern is
for sure.
going crazy right now. Mid-century modern, we're talking 60s, even 70s furniture.
50s, 60s, 70s.
50s, 60s, 70s. It's got a life of its own. So much of it was done by big name designers and so on and so forth. So you can't discount it. The computers have been one of the biggest blessings to the auction world and one of the biggest curses at the same time, because items that people used to be able to deal in and make money on, people now realize they're not rare. And I'm not going to say all Beanie Babies or all Hummels have no value, but the sad thing is collectible items, now anybody can find out online that they're not really rare. When you go online and you look in certain categories, you'll see thousands and thousands of categories, and people are only asking $1 or $5, to get a bid started. They're not even getting an opening bid. Well, if you can't sell them on eBay, we can't help you with those either. It's not the type of thing to send to us. So there's plenty of items that we cannot sell, but we're happy to look at all photos.
Absolutely.
And we'll just sometimes have to give you the bad news. We're always looking for the great stuff, but good and bad come together, and we'll try to help you find a home for it anyway.
And if you're not sure, again, the phone number is 815-923-7000, or email us with some photos at consign@donleyauctions.com.
I had mentioned the military vehicles because what I was going to jump into is the Bannister collection. And the Bannister collection, John Bannister, he's selling off his collection of military relics, and we're referring to it as the D-Day collection. Why is it the D-Day collection? Simply because he has so many rare items from D-Day, including original top secret documents that we're going to be selling off, and firearms, and so again, we're referring to it as the D-Day collection. But just because we're selling off this collection doesn't mean we're not looking for more. If you have any memorabilia, if you have a relative that was involved in any way, shape, or form at D-Day, and you've got any uniforms or helmets or anything that are attributed to D-Day, if you've got any provenance, photographs of a relative wearing a uniform and this type of thing, they can be worth just huge amounts of money. We need you to contact us with any D-Day items. And another area we just talked about was airplanes. So I want to mention flight jackets.
That was one of my favorite things we've ever sold, is Sergeant Frank Mask's flight jacket.
We
sold that
have
a couple years ago.
We have sold flight jackets in the tens of thousands of dollars. It all depends on the quality of the jacket, of course. How good of condition it's still in. Is the leather nice and supple, or is it stiff and hard? It's unfortunately the leather dries out and everything, but if it was kept properly, it's still in good condition. And the painting on the back of the jacket is what sells it.
Yeah, look at this one. It says Ted's Flying Circus.
And
it's a
bomber dropping bombs on the back of it. The painting, the United States government allowed our pilots and flight crews to kind of get away with decorating their uniforms. It's the only branch of service, isn't it, Mike, that ever actually was able to decorate their uniforms?
Well, not only their uniforms, but the noses of the airplanes.
Right.
Yeah, they
when you
painted those
think
too.
about on the airplanes, they had naked ladies painted on them and all kinds of crazy art, cartoon art and everything. Well, why did that happen? That's because the life expectancy of a flight crew was so short.
Weeks.
It was they measured it in weeks. The average life of a flight crew was measured in weeks, that they couldn't very well tell these guys not to do this or not to do that. They needed to keep their morale up, keep these guys flying. So they were given some latitude that no other branch of the service got away with.
No, you didn't see any Jeeps going around with naked women on them or tanks or anything like that.
Oh, no. Patton would have had something to say about that, I'll tell you. Those are just a few more items that we're looking for. Send photos of your items or collections to consign@DonleyAuctions.com. That's CONSIGN at Donley, DONLEY, auctions with an S.com.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Randy Donley from Donley Auctions, and I'm currently looking for old guns and military items for upcoming auctions. Old helmets, uniforms, swords, flags, and daggers from any wars. If you have old Japanese samurai-type swords, call me because you could be sitting on a fortune.
But you won't know till you give us a call at 815-923-7000 or send us photos at consign, CONSIGN, at DonleyAuctions.com. That's DONLEY, auctions with an S.com. I know you guys are experts in the antique music world.
Yeah, we are.
Probably as long as you've been experts in the bar world. What can you tell us about antique music that people might have?
Well, Mike and I actually got our start. You've heard this story before, folks, so I don't mean to bore you with it again.
But I bet they haven't heard it.
The reality is Mike and I started with our father on Maxwell Street in Chicago. And what were we, like 5 and 7 years old?
It may have been like 1958, 59.
Yeah. So in the late 50s, we're on Maxwell Street because our father decided he had to have an antique phonograph. A hand crank phonograph with a horn on it he was in search of. So we were on Maxwell Street every weekend looking for antique phonographs. So our expertise in phonographs goes back certainly 60 years. Mm-hmm. So anything in antique music, we ended up developing the world's largest antique music sale. Obviously, as I said, in the world.
What year was that? In the 70s?
74 was the very first one. Yep.
And you kept it going for how many years?
Well, it's still going. We've turned it over to an antique phonograph club out of California, mm-hmm. who is still operating it now all over the country.
Yeah, the Antique Phonograph Society. In fact, they still have one here coming up. I think this year it's going to be held in August in Chicago. But it travels around. I think next weekend's in Wayne, New Jersey, and so they hold it in several places around the country. Very nice job, too. They put out a great publication, so if you're into antique phonographs or would like to learn about them, it's definitely worth joining their society.
But our music expertise doesn't end in phonographs. I mean, at our last auction, we sold musical instruments. Those Gibson guitars just went for crazy money.
Thousands and thousands of dollars, yeah.
So, and the gentleman that brought him in had very little expectation for him. He said, you know what? He said, whatever they go for, guys.
They were his father's.
They were my father's guitars, and they have to go. And Gibson and Martin guitars, old vintage guitars, we have gotten $38,000 for a single guitar already. An old Martin.
Was that a D18?
A D18,
D18, yeah.
That's the model.
That was a good one.
And not only musical instruments, but Nickelodeons and orchestrions, the items that are basically larger versions of player pianos.
Right. They took the place of small orchestras and small bands in taverns that maybe couldn't afford live entertainment. So they would play off a roll and they have maybe 6 or 8 instruments in it.
You know, you think about that, Mike. The Nickelodeon or the orchestrion was kind of like the AI of its time.
Oh, I imagine they were really mad. Put me out of business here.
All of a sudden, a machine is taking over for an entire band or orchestra.
Yeah.
And they were held in big dance halls and everything. That's interesting. The technology back in the 20s was already taking over for the music industry. So,
One question we do get a lot are about pianos. I knew that I was going to get stink eye on that one.
Oh, my
Pianos,
goodness.
folks. Oh, boy. Let us tell you about
pianos.
pianos.
Go to Facebook Marketplace and look at how many pianos are up there
There's
for
so
free.
many. For free. You can't get rid of them.
Cannot give them away.
I know. I get a lot of calls, and that's a tough one. I hate giving them the bad news.
The last three player pianos, not just uprights.
Yeah, they were beautiful,
player
too.
pianos.
Player grand pianos.
Grand pianos. Oh, my gosh.
The last three that we had, we actually rolled out to the road with a free sign on it.
That's so sad.
And thank you very much, whoever picked them up. But they were gone within a day. But, you know, the sad fact is you can't sell them.
Nobody wants them.
Well, the cost of restoration now exceeds the cost of the restored item. So if you have a player piano that doesn't work, what good is it? Because if it costs you too much to restore it, nobody's going to do the work. So sadly, there's just certain items.
And what if it does work? What if it works great?
Well, there's still not a big market. Young people today, sadly, aren't collecting antiques. I mean, it's definitely affected prices.
And if they need a piano, they're just going to go buy a nice keyboard.
Just buy a keyboard that you sit on your lap. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Big, heavy piece of furniture. It's just sad to see where that
headphones
went.
on. Don't bother anybody. You can play at night.
That's true.
There's so much more you can do.
Headphones. There you go.
Yeah. Well, again.
Okay. Good answer.
Technology has taken over. So, and that's with so many antiques, folks. Prices have been affected by the lack of collectors. There's no doubt. But, you know, if something was worth, I'm just going to throw a figure out there. If something was worth $1,000 20 years ago, and it's only worth $500 today, well, what are you going to do? Not sell it for $500? You're not going to want to take it to a garage sale and sell it for $50 when you can potentially get $500 or more at auction. So even though prices are down, we can still sell items for what they're worth today. And if you don't know, what better way? You don't want to play the best guessing game.
No, send us a picture and tell us what you have. Most times we'll get right back to you with our opinion, and we'll say, yes, this is something we could sell, or no, it's not something that we can't sell. Here's a way to market it, and we'll give you options. Maybe you put it on Facebook or list it on eBay or something like that, and we'll give you an idea of what you think you can get for it, too.
You know, I want to point out just a few of the items that have gone through this auction hall. We had a Coke machine from the 1933 World's Fair that brought $40,000. $40,000. Now, right before the auction, the owner tried to pull it out of the auction because he had a $12,000 offer on it, and he said, "You'll never get that at auction. Randy, I've got to take the money. I'm pulling it out of the auction." And I said, "No, you're not."
No, you're not. We have
a little more rough language than that, if I remember.
Yeah. We have way more eyes at auction. Let it fly.
And we ended up again $40,000 for it.
He was
setting a
kinda
world's record
eating
for a
his
Coke
words,
machine.
Yeah.
That
He
is
was very
correct.
happy.
A multiple cylinder phonograph, a coin-op phonograph called a multiphone, selling for $34,000.
This was a great item too. This Planter's Mr. Peanut roaster.
A display
oh my gosh,
peanut
it's beautiful.
roaster from Planters Company, a Planters peanut roaster, sold for $112,000.
Yeah, it's
$112,000.
right?
The owner never saw that coming. And Mike, you sold this this pistol, this LeMat revolver, Civil War. Mm-hmm. You had a Civil War auction here, and that brought $45,000.
It was, and the owner didn't know. He had other pistols too. It was his father's collection. And when I told him this was going to bring, that kind of money, he just looked at me like he didn't believe me. And sure enough.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. You know, I hate to keep, well, I don't hate to keep bringing it up. I'm going to bring up again that license plate that you sold. It's one of our shining moments here.
Chicago #1, yeah.
And that license plate, a single license plate, brought $40,000 here at Donley Auction, and I believe that's a world record.
A world record for a
license plate.
For a vintage plate, yes.
Just crazy. Yeah,
Where did
for
that
a vintage
go?
plate.
But did that go somewhere in Illinois?
No, went out of state.
It went out of state.
Went out of state. But it is crazy because certain vanity plates, kind of like websites, vanity plates can actually bring in the millions of dollars, folks.
I think New York just sold for several $1 million.
The license
What?
plate that actually said New York on a New York plate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
So,
Wow.
again, huge money in so many fields, but you have to contact us if you want to know. And that's one of the reasons we're squeezed in between two financial shows here on WLS 890, is because we're trying to help you sell your items for big money.
That's right. And don't forget, now you can also purchase those items we're talking about at our upcoming auctions, specifically our October Fall Classic coming up October 23rd through the 25th. Go to our website, please, at donleyauctions.com. You'll see the calendar there. You'll also be able to click on a big red button that will take you to the bidding platform where you can purchase those items, and everything is listed by lot number. You can search for certain things, and you can favorite certain things. That's one way to bid. You can come out here to beautiful Union, Illinois. Like I said, we're just 45 minutes from O'Hare Airport, and bid live with us. Again, there's no admission to come to one of our auctions. You just have to give your driver's license just so we know who's here. And you can also submit an absentee bid, which means you could give us a call and submit that, and we will bid on your behalf up to the max that you decide you want to put on an item. The last option is a phone bid, where we actually just get you on the phone. I'll call you up and do the bidding for you. So that's a wrap for this week's Donley Auctions Hour. We're here every Sunday at 10 a.m. on WLS AM 890. Please tune in next week for more stories and how you can consign or buy with us at Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois.
So for now,
I'm Susan.
I'm Mike.
and I'm Randy Donley, and
we'll
we'll see you at the auction.